Welcome to Lab 1, Incident Mapping using ICS symbols or Incident Command symbols. Today we're going to be creating an incident map using information from the Maloney Creek fire on August 18th on the Craig Mountain Wildlife Management Area in Idaho. To start off with, we're going to collect some important base layers that we'll need. Some of that's going to come from the Lab 1 data folder from bblearn, which you can download and put into your C drive class folder and create a folder for lesson 1, of course without any spaces. The other files are going to come from Inside Idaho. So let's go to Inside Idaho. This is where we're going to get our topographic maps. Inside Idaho is a clearinghouse of information for all things related to Idaho, and it's a resource that we use often at the University of Idaho. There are other resources similar to this for other states. There are also national databases. We'll cover more information on base layers, the types that you'll need, and where you can get them in Lesson 3. For now, let's go to Topographic Maps. And for our exercise today, we're going to be downloading 100K topographic images. So from our Choose Layer location, we'll choose 100K. And by doing this, it'll bring up different grids across Idaho. We're going to zoom in a little bit to the Lewiston area, and we'll be downloading the two layers that are south of Lewiston, the Orofino and the Grangeville quadrangles. So click on the thing here, you can see the name, and you can click the download button. That'll start to go into your downloads folder. And I'll also do the same thing for the Grangeville file. So everyone seems to have a different process for how to deal with zip files, whether you use an external program or you can open them up on your computer like I can. Whatever you do, you'll need to unzip the information in the file before you can access it with ARC. What I like to do, just to save another step of copying and pasting, is I just open it up right in my downloads folder, and then I copy all of these files. Now remember, all of the files associated with an ARC file are very important. Don't miss any of them. So make sure to copy these all out. So I just did Control A for all, Control C for copy. And then I'm going to go into my Lesson 1 folder and paste them here. And I've already pasted these ones. Paste those there. Do the same thing for your Grangeville map. Control A for select, Control C for copy, and then paste those into your Lesson 1 folder. Once those are in place, we can open up a blank ArcMap project. So I have my blank project here, and using the plus sign, you're going to add those two data layers. I'm already connected to my folder here, but you can either use the drop-down arrow to connect to the proper folder, or you can use the plus folder option in ARC. So in 407 Lesson 1, I have my two quadrangles that I downloaded here. Can add them. And right away you'll notice that there's a large white strip in the middle. That's something that we want to take care of. Our fire is going to be covering both of those quadrangles. There's two ways to do this. One way is you can right click on the layer itself, click Properties, and under Symbology you can double click on the white color and select No Color and click OK. And that takes care of that piece there. So now if we zoom in, we can see that there's continuous information from one map to the next, which is what we're looking for. The other way to do that is to expand the color options on the second layer, double click on the white, and select No Color. That accomplishes the same objective. Now that we have fixed our base layers, it's time to add our fire perimeter. So again, in this folder, Lesson 1 Data, we're going to be selecting the perimeter from August 18th. Selecting Add. I get a notification that the layer that I'm adding is in the projection system of NAD 1983, and the projection system of the base layers is NAD 27. When both of these are defined in ARC, then ARC will be able to compensate and put them in the proper location. If something was undefined, then it wouldn't know what kind of compensation to apply, so you would have information that wasn't overlaid properly. For now, we're okay with what we've got. Normally we would change this right away so that it was hollow and had a darker line. We'll get to that in a second once we download some additional fire symbology. The next step that we're going to do is going to be adding some of the features that are around our map that are important for the incident command team to see. So we'll go to Add button again. This time we're going to be adding a text file. So this is something that can relatively easily be created, and if the features are set up properly, then it's relatively easy to add them to the map. So we'll click Add. Now that we've added our text file, we need to make sure that ARC knows where to look for the location information for this text file. Right click on the document and select Display XY Data. And we're going to make sure that the eastings are in the X field. This changes east to west, and that northings are in the Y field, changing north to south. We're going to make sure that the projection system that it's in is NAD 27, which it is. We'll click OK. And when you get this error message, you can say OK. It doesn't have an object ID, but that's all right for now. So now we have these points displayed around our map, but one, they're hard to see, and two, they're not very informative on exactly what they are, even though there's detail about what they are in the attributes table. So in order to display different symbols for these, we're going to right-click on our event and open Properties. And under Symbology, we're going to choose, instead of a single symbol, we're going to want the categories. And instead of location as a category, we're going to want the point type as a category. And we're going to add these values. Now you can see that we've got different points here, different features on the ground that these points are representing. There are lots of different options that you have when you're trying to make a point or a polygon unique. Certainly lots that are currently available in ARC, but we want some ones that are specific and recognizable in the Fire world. So to do that, once we've double-clicked on the current point, we're going to actually import some different symbols. We're going to click Style References and Add Styles to List. And navigate to our C drive, class drive, that's one, and we'll have a folder for ICS styles here, where we'll select Fire Mapping and open. Okay. Now you see some additional symbols that are added that are a lot more meaningful and will be much more useful when we're mapping for fire. So take a moment to select the proper symbol for each of the different features that we have on our map. Now that we have all those assigned, we can press OK. And on our map, we can see that we have all of those symbols properly displayed now. For our fire perimeter, it's time to change the symbology here. I'm going to double click on the blue circle, and as you can see, a couple of different types of specific to fire options have been added. So I'm going to add this fire perimeter, which is simply a 3-point width black line, and press OK. Now we have a pretty normal looking fire perimeter with recognizable symbols around it. The next piece that we're going to be adding are some GPS coordinates for a completed dozer line that was just downloaded from some Garmin units that we need to get added to the map. So in our plus add data, we're going to add dozer line from August 18th shapefile. Click add. Again, this is acceptable, so we'll click close. I'm going to change the way this is being displayed. So here's our dozer line right now, and it's a straight line. Accepted symbology for dozer line are crosses, so we will double click on this and find the proper symbol for lines. We've got these crosses here for completed dozer line. Click OK. Now we can easily find where that completed dozer line is. Now that we've added the needed pieces to our map, we're going to zoom to the extent that we would like to display. That extent that we choose is going to be what shows up on the layout view when we create our map and make it more of a professional looking product. So this is about how I want it to display. And under the view location here at the bottom, there's a couple different ways to get to it, but here's one. So right now we're on data view, but if you go to layout view, turns it more into a map, and we can start to add some of our map features, and we'll eventually export it for final product. So the first thing we'll add is a legend. So on the Insert tab, so now we can add our map features that will complete this project. In the Insert tab, let's start with our legend. This is where you can add or remove pieces of your menu that you would like to have or not have. The default is to add any of the features on the left-hand table of contents into your legend, and some of them we actually don't want. So these are the current legend items, so I'm going to take off our topo layers and just keep the GPS points, dozer lines, and perimeter. Click next. For color, these look fine. You can also get back to this later if you feel like you want to make a change. For border, I'm going to make a light border and I'm going to choose sand as a background. By choosing a background, I'm able to put the legend on top of the current map. Click next. Those things look fine. And finish. So here's my map legend, and you can choose where you'd like to have this, somewhere that allows the reader of the map to be able to see what they need to see. If you look at the legend, there's a couple pieces that don't have a lot of meaning. This title is one, and the word point type. So let's see what we can do about changing that. Over here on our table of contents, let's start with the perimeter. August 18th, the word dissolve is something that notates something that occurred to it when it was created, but we don't need that for the legend. So I've deleted that there. And then we have this GPS points, and we actually don't need that title at all, since the points themselves each have their own individual symbols. So I'm going to right click on this, click properties, and I'm going to uncheck the word for all other values, so that takes it out of the table of contents. And I can actually delete the word point type here and delete that so it doesn't show up in the legend as well. Now our legend is looking pretty clean, and we can add our other map features. So we'll need a title, and this is the Maloney Fire, August 18th. Okay. We'll need a north arrow. Pick something that will show up over the map. Move it to where you can see it, either in the legend is an okay spot or somewhere in a corner. It's best to keep all of your map features inside the map, if that's possible. And the last piece that we really need is a scale bar. So for the scale bar, you have lots of options for properties as far as what units to be in or how many breaks you need. I'm just going to go with a pretty typical scale bar here. One thing that is important to do is to make it so that it's an even number. I'm going to, this is my zoom features in my layout tab. If I use zoom over here, it's just going to change the extent of my map. So notice I can grab the map and move it around. If I want to actually zoom into my layout, then I can zoom in with these tools here. So 10 miles, that's good. If you did want to change that, you can grab corners and move things around. So now I'm going to zoom back out so that I can see the full extent. Might need to move my fire around. So this is the Maloney Fire on August 18th, and you can now deliver this final product by exporting it. So you'll want to go to File, Export Map, and you can select your download location. So again, navigate to your C drive. And name your file lesson 1 underscore your last name. So for me it's Heward, and it saves it. We want it to be saved as a JPEG. So select JPEG from the saving type. Adjust that resolution to 150 and click Save. Your map is now saved. Go ahead and open it up and check it out. Make sure that it looks like you want it to look. And when you're done, you can submit that on BB Learn.